This is VM Degree, and when I'm writing scripts, I end up wearing a lot of these. I'm your host, Corey Johnson, and last time we talked about killing your babies and cutting out ideas that aren't yet fully formed. But that kind of got me thinking. We haven't really even covered the process of revising a story and cutting out ideas in the first place, let alone cutting the ideas that you've become really attached to. For those who haven't done it several times already, the idea of writing a script or a screenplay can seem paradoxically mystical. Paradoxically mystical. On one hand, obviously there's nothing secret or special to it, it's just writing. But calling it just writing is also oversimplifying it way too much. Naturally, you want the product to be amazing and you want the final video to be stellar. Naturally. But the road to making something stellar or awesome is never clear and it's not always easy. And it's usually difficult to chart a path between where you are and where you want to be when it comes to something like writing. And the standard advice you'll get from everyone is just to write. And there is no replacement for that. You have to write a lot. You'll never get good at this type of thing until you do it over and over again. But if I just left you with the standard answer of go and write more, I wouldn't be sharing all that I know about how to improve your writing over time. Getting better is about making lots of mistakes and doing some things right. But if you have a process for capturing the mistakes you make and capturing the things that you do right, each time you try, you can be sure to be a little bit better. And so having a set writing process that you modify over time will help you improve way faster than just blindly writing and writing and writing. And yes, there is the writing process we all learned in 7th grade English, but I've modified my personal writing process a little bit to try and get better results. It all started when I read an article about a film that had sent its script out for a comedy pass. This movie, which was not a comedy, had sent the script to a comedian. He had rewritten the whole thing to insert jokes wherever he could, and then sent it back to the original author. When the original author got the script back, he went through and kept what he liked and cut everything else. And I thought the idea of going through the script just to try and make it more funny was a really good way of trying to improve it, so I tried it out immediately. Lots of the stuff I came up with was stupid, but I did keep some of it. I liked how that worked so well, I did lots of passes with my script, each one adding something or taking away from the final product. As I collect things that I do and don't like about my work and the work I see on screen and in books, I turn those things into goals and I use those to revise my writing. So let's look at an example. I love Marvel's Guardians of the Galaxy, but there was one thing in it that I really didn't like. Guardians has a lot of characters, and to go through all the exposition and characterization that they need to go through to get to the plot, each character kind of announces their backstory as soon as they step on screen.
They call me terrorist because I obey the ancient laws of my people, the Kree.
I'm a daughter of Thanos, just like you.
You believe they call us criminals when I've escaped 22 prisons?
I wasn't retrieving the orb for Ronan. I was betraying him.
I'm no family to Ronan or Thanos.
You know who I am, yes? Ronan murdered my wife, and my daughter can marry you.
And that's something I see really frequently in other stories that I don't really like when it's there. So I look for that mistake specifically when I do my own revisions. Now I'll do a pass where I'll specifically look for needless exposition that characters say about themselves. And so by collecting things that I do and don't like from other things that I see and using them in targeted passes on my own script, I'm able to immediately apply my own knowledge and my own opinions about other stories in improving my story. Here are some of the passes that I currently do with my own scripts, and I've decided to have each one represented by a hat. With the comedy pass, I want to lighten the mood of every single scene. I'm going to put jokes anywhere I can fit them. This is when I'm going to check for the length of every single scene, and I'm going to pretend I'm the kind of person who gets really bored when no new information is presented. This is also where I try to really shorten up my scripts. This is when I obnoxiously point out any time someone says something about themselves or about someone else that could be inferred without any dialogue at all. Like when someone says they're really angry. On this pass of my script, I'll cut out any actions that my characters do without motivation or goals, anytime a character is acting one-dimensional, or anytime a character does something unlike him or her just to forward the plot. This is when I look at the tropes and conventions of the genres that I'm borrowing from. Then I make sure that I'm keeping with them where I want to, or occasionally subverting them for specific purposes. This is the pass where I do a lot of fact checking, and I check for unrealistic scenarios or gaping plot holes. It's also where I check to see if I've talked about something that I don't really understand. Are there any places where I could add some extra symbolism to forward the overall goals of my film? In this pass, I plot out the tension I'm hoping to build in my audience, make sure I don't hold that tension too long, and find opportunities to have slight releases in tension. Similar to tension and release, in this pass I look for all the setups I've created, even some that I may have created inadvertently, and then I make sure they either have a clear payoff or they are cut from the script. And that's my process for revising and tightening scripts. As I said before, there's nothing like practice and a good friend who will review your work. But this will at least give you an opportunity to take your script as far as you can take them by yourself. And if you want to make your script the best you possibly can, I suggest you make a process like this, where you're able to capture the things that you're learning and use them immediately in your script. I use hats and passes, but I'd love to hear what you do to try and improve your scripts. Let us know in the comments below. Also, subscribe to our channel for more storytelling tips every week. You can find me on Twitter, here, and join the conversation on Facebook. See you next week.